I'll direct this to Minister LeBlanc because it's still about the meeting tomorrow. Premier Ford yesterday had said that this was an olive branch from Howard Lutnick, but at the same time, President Trump says he wants to finish the auto industry and also make Canada the 51st state. So how do you trust the U.S. administration going into tomorrow's meeting?
Well, so obviously outrageous comments, and Melanie talked about it from Mr. Trump in that regard, aren't constructive to building an economy that is in the interest of both Canada and the United States, and obviously with our Mexican partners as well. So our focus is not on exaggerated rhetoric. Our focus is on doing the work that Canadian workers and businesses expect their governments to do together. Premier Ford has been an important leader as not only the chair of the Council of the Federation, but as the premier of our biggest province in defending the Canadian economy and the economy of his province. I think it would be irresponsible not to take an opportunity to talk to Howard Lutnick about what we think is important to build a strong North American economy and why we think these continued tariff measures and the necessary and appropriate response that comes from Canada is not a constructive path to be on. If you're like racing to the basement, there's no real prize for being the first person to get to the basement. Like it doesn't feel like the path that we want to be on.
What?
I've had with Secretary Lutnick constructive conversations. So this is an opportunity again to figure out, I hope, the best way to get to April 2nd, the decision points that they have set up themselves in a way that protects and promotes economic growth in Canada. And we think done properly, it's also in the interest of the United States as well.
Can I just add to that? I think the strategy is clear. We just need to make sure that we put maximum pressure to defend our jobs, defend our sovereignty, defend our way of living. But meanwhile, as a team negotiating, we need to find off-ramps. And it is just the right thing to do. So we'll do both. That conversation with Howard Lutnick is important. The ones we have, and I'll have with Secretary Rubio as well. So we're doing that in the best interest of Canadians.
Let me just add on the auto sector, because you touched something that will really, but that's going to affect hundreds of thousands of people in this country. Trust me, those who are watching are listening to that. Those who are watching, we're going to fight for the auto sector every single day. I spoke to them and I say, Canadians have been there for you. Canadians have been there for the auto sector for decades since we had the Auto Pact. And these companies, most of them, have long-standing commitments to this country. We're going to make sure that they abide by the terms of every single agreements we have with them to make sure we protect the jobs. We had discussion with the union leaders yesterday and with the representatives from the company, and they truly understand that the reasons they came to Canada is because we have the best worker, it's because Canadians have been there for them, and we have integrated supply chain. So I just want to be clear on the auto sector. Make no mistake that we are already on their back, saying we're going to be watching like hawks as to what may happen to the auto sector, because this is a core industry for the prosperity of this country.
All right, thank you. And Prime Minister, my next question is, Prime Minister designate Mark Carney had campaigned on dollar-for-dollar retaliatory tariffs. Did he have a say in today's announcement?
Obviously, we took note of what the Prime Minister designate said in the leadership campaign, but it's also been the position of the Government of Canada to have a strong response to these unjustified measures. So this shouldn't surprise anyone. We have been clear that if the Americans took this unreasonable and unjustified step, Canada would respond as Canadians expect their government to respond. As Melanie and François Philippe said, we benefit from the support of premiers across the country, of business leaders. But our objective always is to get to a position where the American tariffs are lifted and all of the tariffs are lifted, and then so too, of course, will be our retaliatory measures. But until the Americans make that decision, we'll continue, as Melanie said, to increase the pressure. None of this is surprising to the American administration. You could have seen this coming This response was well known and planned for a number of weeks, and we'll continue to do everything we need to do to defend the Canadian economy.